Hello everyone. I'll cover chapter 9 in this lecture. The chapter is about fundamental legal principles of insurance. So these are the concepts that we will cover in this chapter. The first legal principle is the principle of indemnity. It means that the insurer will pay for the actual amount of loss and try to restore the customer to their financial position before the loss. The reason is it helps to ensure that the customer does not profit from the loss. The other reason is to reduce moral hazard, that is, reduce undue risk taking by the customer because they expect to be paid more than the actual loss. That is the reason why we have the principle of indemnity. To enforce this principle, property insurers work on the basis of actual cash value. So that is the actual value of the property at the time of loss. The actual cash value can be determined through three methods. The first is replacement cost less depreciation. Replacement cost is the price of the property at the time loss occurs, and depreciation is the uh, degradation that has happened based on the number of years of. So replacement cost minus depreciation is the actual cash value at the time of loss. Fair market value is the next method. So in this case, it is the price at which somebody will buy that property under free will and not under any duress. The third method is the broad evidence rule. So in this case, the actual cash value is determined by a combination of factors decided by an expert who is employed by the property insurer. There are certain exceptions to the principle of indemnity. First is it's a valued policy. It is generally used for very valuable items. So if that item gets totally damaged, so the insurer will pay the original value of the item. There will be no determination of the value at the time of loss. Some states have a valued policy law. So in this case, the insurance company has to pay the actual value if a total loss happens and the loss is due to some specified reason or peril in the terms and conditions. It could also be a replacement cost insurance where the insurance policy specifically states that there would be no deduction for depreciation. Rather, the amount paid will be based on replacement cost. That is to buy the same item at the time of. Life insurance contract are another exception where there is no concept of this indemnity. So the beneficiary will be paid the policy amount irrespective of the time when death occurs. The next legal principle is the principle of insurable interest. So this principle ensures that the customer happens to lose financially if the loss occurs. So the reason this principle is ensured to prevent gambling by the customer. The customer may take an insurance on another individual, and when the loss occurs, when loss occurs to the other individual, they may profit from compensation. It also helps to reduce moral hazards because it may lead to undue risk taking by the customer. And it also helps to measure the amount of loss. Because only when we know the impact of the loss on the customer, we'll be able to determine what is the cash value. Insurable interest is supported by ownership of property. The customer must own the property for which they are taking insurance. So if there is any damage, they are likely to lose financially. They are likely to have a legal liability in case of non-performance. So if there is any disruption of service, they may be held legally liable and may have to pay compensation. So in case of disruption, the insurance company will give them some compensation. The property is a security against loans given by the customer. So if the security gets damaged, so they lose out on collateral or security for the money that they have lent. Hence, they can take insurance on the security. So the customer is a secured creditor in this case. And finally, there are contractual rights. The customer may receive or deliver goods and services. So if there is any disruption, they may lose financial. So they can take insurance for the goods and services that they are going to deliver or receive. When does insurable interest exist? In the case of property insurance, it is at the time of loss. And for life insurance, it is only at the inception of policy. If I buy a life insurance policy for myself, it is assumed that I have an insurable interest and it need not be proved. But if I'm buying life insurance for another individual, then I have to prove insurable interest. One way is through family relationship, parents, siblings, children, and so on. Or I have a pecuniary interest. So in this case, a company may take life insurance for a high performing employee. The reason being that if the employee dies, the company's business will be adversely affected, and hence they want some protection. The next is the principle of subrogation. In this case, the insurer is able to claim compensation from a third party on behalf of the customer. So this principle ensures that the customer is not able to collect compensation twice, once from the third party and once from the insurer. It also helps to hold the negligent third party or the offending third party responsible for the loss. And if insurance companies have access to subrogation, then they are likely to recover the payout that they have done to the customer, and they are likely to keep interest rates or interest premium down. So for example, I may have a auto insurance policy. So I meet with an accident with a third party where the third party is the offender. So I cannot claim compensation from the third party as well as from the insurer. So what happens is the insurer will pay me and the insurer will approach the third party to recover the compensation paid. So what does the principle mention? That the insurer is entitled to the amount it has paid under the policy. So whatever, in case of the accident, whatever money is paid to me by my insurance company, the insurance company can claim only that amount from the third party. I cannot restrict the insurer's subrogation rights. That is to prevent me from claiming compensation twice. The insurer cannot subrogate its own customers. That is, the insurer cannot pay me and then ask me to recover, ask me to make up for the compensation that has been paid. Subrogation does not apply to life insurance contracts. In this case, if an accident happens and the person dies, then the beneficiary will get life insurance benefits, and the beneficiary can also seek legal damages against the offending third party. So in this case, the insurance company will also pay, and the offending third party may also have to pay compensation. So this is an exception to subrogation. So that's all for this lecture. I'll continue with rest of the chapter in the next lecture. Thank you.